Most people who are raised Roman Catholic have heard of the stigmata. This is the phenomenon whereby a person of strong faith exhibits Christ's nail puncture wounds in their hands and sometimes feet, or possibly forehead from his crown of thorns. Some of the most famous Catholic saints have been stigmatics, most recently Padre Pio. Then there was also St. Francis of Assisi, Catherine of Siena, Catherine de' Ricci, Rita of Cascia, and others. Interestingly, the vast majority of stigmatics have been women, something like over 80%. Also interesting, the stigmata is basically exclusively a Catholic phenomenon. In particular, it's foreign to the Orthodox experience. That's the exact quote from the Orthodox Church of America's official website. Which leaves us with one of two possible conclusions. Either the stigmata is fake, as in a mass hallucination or a hoax, or it's real and further evidence that there is a subjective element to spiritual life. To say that the stigmata is the result of some hallucination or fraud is an enormous insult to Catholics, since, as we said, it's regarded as part of Catholicism and recognized as far up as the Vatican. To make that argument puts us in the same camp as the atheists and scientism types who deny spiritual life totally. Conversely, to say that the stigmata is absent from Eastern Orthodoxy because their faith is somehow lacking or because they're cut off from the one true church is an enormous insult to them, even though I'm sure some traditional Catholics would make that argument. If we acknowledge, however, that there's a significant subjective element to spiritual life, and that identical concepts can be nevertheless legitimately interpreted and experienced by different people in different, albeit equally valid ways, without compromising the integrity of the original concept, then we have our explanation as to how it could be possible that Catholics can exhibit the stigmata while other Christians of equally sincere faith don't. And the fact that stigmatics have been mostly female just reinforces this, giving us an example of subjective variations even within Catholicism itself. The stigmata fits in with Catholic sensibilities generally. Roman Catholicism includes this sort of Mel Gibson strain of Christianity, lots of emphasis on the blood and gore of the Passion and Crucifixion. Catholics love to focus on Christ's pain and suffering especially. For example, the Stations of the Cross and things like this. And like how you would go into pizzerias in New York and you would see a big life-size, almost life-size crucifix with blood dripping everywhere. You don't really see that in Eastern Orthodoxy or even in Eastern Catholicism, where there the icons of the crucifixion certainly convey the gravity of the event, but don't explicitly emphasize the blood and gore aspect. Can we really say that one is more correct than the other? It's a question of different themes resonating with different people. Different people have different sensibilities. When we as religious people attempt to shoehorn all of reality into the same exact view, ours, we are behaving exactly the same as the materialists and scientism types that we imagine ourselves to be fighting against. We're actually reinforcing the same worldview. Modern Western thinking views not only the physical, but also the mental and spiritual worlds as purely solid and objective, when the reality is that not even the ground under our feet is solid.